what to do.
It's just me tonight. I put in the, oops. I'll put in the comments. StreamYard link if you'd like me to join. Hopefully I'm talking loud enough for you. Just as an event, and I'm going to do a drawing, and I'll try and remember to keep talking. And I'll take this piece of paper down. Rag. Sometimes I like to use the non-gesso side. It's because I like the way it sucks up the canvas. I do kind of like these informal canvas. They're like it's canvas, but it comes in a pad. It's like a pad of paper that just fabric pad. Just as an art show, and Rich is running solo. For sushi. That was nice. Probably tonight. I don't mind being by myself. I've had a lot on my mind. And I've been thinking about my friend Darcy. And maybe I'll paint something for Darcy. Maybe I'll talk a little bit about art. And I might want to talk about our community. And hopefully I don't offend anybody. Maybe if I paint something for Darcy, I might offend a few people. Start with Shelby. So about 12, I'll start at the beginning. I went to school at a place called Bishop Grandin High School. And they have changed the name of that school because the bishop the school was named for was quoted saying some pretty awful stuff. And when I went to school, it was pretty normal and kind of common, and I think it still is, that let's say if you were good at art, almost everyone you knew would start by saying, hey, you're really good at that. And then they would immediately compare you to somebody else that was good at art. So let's say you got up and took a risk and sang a song. Everybody in the houses go, oh, that's amazing. You heard Tony sing? He can really sing. And I don't think I ever took that personally, though I think I was pretty aware of how it made me feel, which was to say, I was drawing because I drew. I was almost always embarrassed if somebody liked my drawing. I was confused why there would be an immediate urge to compare my drawing to somebody else. So the grade below me, this amazing guy, still a good friend of mine. I don't see him enough. I have an eagle tail, was amazing at art. and one grade lower than me. So I'd do a drawing and people would run up and go, "Oh, I love your drawing. Have you seen what Ivan Eagletail can do?" And I'd be like, "Actually, I don't think Ivan Eagletail and I ever saw each other's artwork because we're in different grades." But I was glad to know there was another artist out there. But there was sort of like a divide between grades. That I also went to the same high school as Darcy Lisecki, and he was a couple grades higher than me. He might have even graduated by the time I got to that school. But definitely when I was in the art room way back then, I think there was, might get this wrong. People might even contact me to tell me I've got it wrong. There was a like kind of a scorpion python snake airbrushed on the wall, and of the clan that I grew up with, Darcy for sure was the best at making use of an airbrush. We had an airbrush at the school, and if I remember that Darcy did that scorpion piece correctly, then definitely he was the best at the airbrush of any of us. Like even by the time I graduated, I wasn't as skilled as he was. And then of course airbrushing kind of became redundant with Photoshop, which is weird because I think of a lot of the things that persisted as people lost interest in airbrushing because they could get similar effects in print with Photoshop. I think the actual ability to airbrush persisted. I remember getting off my motorcycle one day in a parking lot at a time that maybe making $75 an hour as a graphic designer was getting kind of difficult. The lady pulled up next to me with her motorcycle and she wanted to show me her brand new, I think it might have been Pegasus or a unicorn. I think it might have been a Pegasus unicorn. I should check and see that anybody can hear me. Can everybody hear me? Scott, if you could give me an indication that my voice is coming through, that'd mean a lot. The lady said to me, she wanted me to look at her Pegasus airbrushed, and she spent $9,000 on that airbrushing on her motorcycle. And I was like, man, that is something that persisted, is the ability to airbrush and get paid for it. Darcy could airbrush like a son of a bitch. I knew him as Spit because that was his like street name back in the 1980s, late 1980s, early 1990s. If you wanted to know about graffiti, it was kind of a dead art. There wasn't people tagging benches and stuff. It was kind of like in the 60s, skateboards were big. And then I think in the 80s, there's a span of time that you might have had a skateboard left over from your older cousin, but they didn't really sell them in the stores. They were sort of like garage sale novelties. And then like when I was skateboarding around grade 3, it was an abnormal thing to do. But then it became really popular, and it kind of became popular amongst the kind of wealthier kids, so that the skateboards were getting closer to $200 and the t-shirts were $50. And I had a little plastic deck from my cousins or something from the 70s. So like skateboarding was kind of a little bit subversive, and definitely airbrushing was a little subversive. Just these things that just weren't happening anymore. Graffiti was done. People weren't graffitiing. But Darcy would get out and spray paint, and pretty sloppy, like not like Wild Style from the. He just basically wrote his name with a can of spray paint. But I thought that was pretty boss. And he signed by the name Spit. And my friend Brett's older brother was in art classes with Darcy at somewhere. I'm gonna guess John Williams or Swinton's or something like that. I was kind of bitter about stuff like that because I did not have art lessons. I taught myself to draw. And I think sometimes kids that don't have as much stuff grow up with grudges on their shoulders. So everything I learned in art, I had to teach myself, and I would really like grind to get better at art. And a lot of times, like I said, when the people were comparing you to other artists, they might have been comparing to you to somebody that was taking art lessons on the weekend. And that was a little bit like getting your ass kicked by somebody that took martial arts. It's like kind of an unfair competition. Again, like with art, I don't think you really think of yourself in a competition, but people seem to really press you into this weird sense that the competition is part of what you're doing. Darcy was older than me, so there was never any sense. We just looked up with marvel that this guy could wield an airbrush in the art room, and they gave him space to make a mural in the art room, which was a real legacy project. And then he also would sort of run out at night and spray paint his name on. Particularly, what stuck with me was, I want to say past Heritage, maybe after Chinook or before Chinook, there was a tunnel, and he'd gone pretty deep into the tunnel to spray paint his name. And back then, I was kind of maybe a pretty square kid, so I was more like concerned he might get hit by a train in that tunnel. But I mean, now you see much more dynamic paintings going up. So I knew of Darcy as a kid. I didn't know him personally. I think my sister knew him. I think my sister had a crush on him. I think a lot of people had crushes on Darcy. Almost everybody I knew was a couple big events that stick in my generation is I was 17 when Nirvana played at the Westward Club. And a lot of people would talk about like, oh yeah, man, where were you that night? And I was not going to a club because I didn't look old enough to get into a club, and I wasn't old enough to get into a club. I do remember the night everybody was trying to get into Shonen Knife. That was pretty wild. I was over 18 at that point. But unrelated, a couple big events that I did not get involved in was I wasn't at the Westward Club when Nirvana played, and also I was not in the movie Rad. However, I was pretty interested in BMX, and I'd like to think I had some decent skills. And my BMX friends were all in Rad. Like, I don't know how that kind of information seemed to skip past me, but they were all in the same film. And my friend Paul has like an eighth of a second cameo where the camera pans past him at a dance. And I watched it hundreds of times, but I could never really spot my friend Paul. Partly just didn't recognize him because he had a weird haircut. But Darcy probably would have been one of the like lead roles in Rad because he was a local BMX legend. The only thing is, and I always just assumed he would have had something to do with it, but the only thing is it turns out Darcy was doing a Canadian Tire commercial that weekend and had gone maybe even to somewhere like Toronto or something. And when he got there, somehow his BMX bike got cut from the scene, and he ended up just being kind of one of the pretty kids that were doing funky things in a Canadian Tire commercial. And I remember him explaining to me in detail about how he did this kind of like Darcy was quite known for his tabletop Airwolf. And I guess out of like sheer defiance, even though they took his bike away, Darcy's did a tabletop over a bench without his bike in the commercial, which is a pretty Darcy move. So the name was part of a legend. He wasn't a person I knew personally. I don't even know if I knew what his face looked like other than I just knew about him. Like when you're getting the art awards. Oh, you know what? I got the Helen McCallum art bursary, and I think Darcy had gotten it a couple of years before me. And so, or maybe I got the first bursary. There's something to do with that award. Maybe Darcy was her favorite student or something. I can't remember, but there's something about that award that related to Darcy Lasecki. And that's also how I knew his name. So a lifetime goes by, and high school moves on, and Bishop Grandin becomes Our Lady of the Rockies, and I go to open up Gorilla House 2012, which is like enough time to grow a complete adult. And yeah, Aaron Eagletail and Ivan Eagletail were probably related. What high school did you go to, Scott? We opened up Gorilla House, and to open up Gorilla House, I thought 5 people. So it was Ivan Eagletail, Rich Teru, Gonzalo Figueroa, Elijah Escalante, possibly Kathleen Moore, and somebody else. I can't remember. There's 5 of us. And the concept was something I'd been sitting on for 20 years. I thought we would turn our studio space into a joint run gallery space. The premise being that each artist I knew was spending around $400 on an art studio so they'd have a place to make their work. You'd do your work in silence and alone, and then you would carry your work to an art gallery and they'd sell it. What I didn't like about my art gallery is that they wouldn't let you meet the art buyer. Okay, so this gets a little complicated. The first piece of artwork I sold was to a stripper who was on her way to Japan. And I thought it'd be cool to meet this lady that was buying my artwork. Could have had something to do with me being a teenager and her being a stripper. But I asked my gallery curator or owner if it'd be cool if I met her, and he just laughed in my face and said, "No, I don't like the artists to meet the buyers." And I was like, "Well, why not?" And he said, "Well, because then you'll back sell without including the gallery in the future." Which at the time I wasn't crazy about his logic, but I also kind of understood that the gallery needed to stay open. What I wanted to do was take my studio space and turn that into a public art gallery space, therefore forfeiting the privacy of my art making, and in exchange having control of my art sales and educating the public all at once. So my idea was a window space, could be just like the window of a store, and we would take turns keeping the thing open 24 hours. So everybody that took over a part of the studio space would take over a portion, because some of us were night workers, some of us were day workers. And the idea would be that you'd have your time in your studio, but also, like, let's say, because it needed to be downtown, it needed to be like a guy comes out of work and he eats his lunch, and on the way to work in the morning, he sees an artist gessoing their canvas, and then a couple hours later he goes out for a smoke break and he sees that there's a sky and a landscape, and then comes back again at lunch and sees that it's evolved into this. And by the end of the day, the canvas is being pulled off the easel and it sits in the window with a price tag. And the person that might buy that art would now have a connection to how the art got there. That was my premise. The art battles was like a decoration, and the original idea was really a lot more about sharing a studio in a public space so that we could exhibit the art making and expand the awareness of the art buyers. So I had in my mind that I was going to try this thing for 20 years. And my principal, who was of a different political belief system than myself, asked me for help to get elected. Now, so much as I didn't believe in her politics, I do believe in helping support people, especially if they're your friends or whatever, your boss. I believe in helping people chase their dreams. So I'm going to say I gave about $9,000 worth of free campaign art advice, brainstorming, support into this political campaign. And one of the things that happened was her campaign office was downtown across from Phil's. And I was kind of like mind blown that she could afford this space. Turned out it was only about $3,000 a month. Part of it was that the owner of the building wasn't using the space and liked the idea of her winning this election, so he kind of gave her a decent deal on the space. But I had looked around this space while she was campaigning. They were only using the front room. There was a back room, a side room, a garage in the basement. And I was kind of mind blown that they had this space and it was being so underutilized. So it happened that when the election was over, she still had the space. And did I end up getting tasked with returning the keys? I think I did. I was returning the keys for the previous. No, that's not how that happened. Somebody else was returning the keys for the previous occupant, which was my boss, the principal that ran for politics. I didn't last long. I think she was in politics for a little while, and there was a scandal, and she ended up back doing something else. But I wanted this space, and the owner of the building, first of all, didn't normally rent it for so cheap, and second of all, didn't really want artists in the space, and so it was more a matter of I wasn't even welcome to try and get the space, not a matter of not having the money. So I did kind of dream about this space like my wildest dreams. I was putting together a team of artists that could split the weight of the studio space and and working the space, and at the same time, I broke my ear playing the drums. So when I broke my ear, they put me on a heavy load of steroids to try and help my ear recover. My ear did recover, but I also went kind of nuts every day at about 2:00. From about noon till 2, I went completely nuts and would make terrible decisions. I ended up putting a $9,000 check down on the Gorilla House space when I had $600 to pay the check. So I was clearly in one of my steroid ear recovery rage modes, and I wrote this check partly because they so badly didn't want to rent me the space. I had to like trick them. I hustled them into giving me the space. This is a different story. This is the story I almost got wrong a second ago. I was trying to meet with this guy to rent the space, and he was having nothing. He's like, I don't want to rent you the space for 1,000 reasons. Artists are messy, and the building needed to be demolished anyways. But after about the third time that he kind of met with me and rejected me, I had a final meeting with him where he was like, it was clear that he was just going to meet with me and say, stop bugging me. I'm not giving you the space. And I found out that on the same day that I was going to meet him, he was going to meet the lady that was going to return the keys for Cusinelli. And so I just happened to contact that lady that was returning the keys. And I said, hey, this is weird, but could you possibly, when you drop the keys off, could you say to John or whatever his name was, can you say like, oh, I heard Rich Teru might be taking this place. I can't believe you know Rich Teru. And she totally pulled that off and made me sound like some kind of big shot because he didn't know that I spoke to her. She just made it sound like I was some superstar that might take the space. So he kind of like flip-flopped from not wanting me to take the space to being pretty accommodating and wanting me to take the space. So I took the space. I wrote the check kind of expecting like that they weren't going to give me the space anyways. And then it wasn't until after I wrote the check, I realized I didn't have the cash. Then I was like, oh, I'm going to be in trouble at the end of the month. So happened Lori phoned me up and said she needed 32 illustrations in like 3 weeks. And even though I was doing report cards, you've probably heard the story before, but even though I was doing report cards and finishing off school, what I did was I taught all day. I did report cards from about 7 till 9. And then from 9 till about 4 in the morning, I did illustrations for a book. And I pulled together the money I needed for Gorilla House. That also, the other thing that happened the night before I went to go pay for the lease, there had been 5 of us. Ivan was kind of busy because I think somebody close to him wasn't well. But Ivan was down. He's like, when I get there, I'll drop the cash off. Elijah was like, he didn't have the money, but he was willing to kill to get it. And Gonzo had some money. And I think it was down to 4 of us. And the 4 of us were going to put $1,000 each in for 3 months rent, which would have given us $1,000 of renovation money. And we're basically just going to rent the space for 3 months as a proof of concept to make sure that it worked. When I got to the spot, Gonzo had decided that he didn't want to be part of the project, and he sort of like threw it out like maybe it's a vanity project. Didn't I think his exact words was he didn't know if he could bet $1,000 on his artwork, which was kind of the end of our friendship. And then when I realized Elijah didn't actually have the money, he was just planning to get it somehow, and he was a pretty crafty fella. I said, what would happen if I just did this myself? And I thought this will go so much smoother if I don't have to argue with anybody about anything. So I wrote the $9,000 check, thinking I'll find that money. I wrote the check, opened up. That was like May. I got keys. May, June. No, that's not true. I got the keys on June 27th, and I was super stoked to get them 3 days early. And from June 27th until about June 5th, I had to bust my ass to get the place renovated because I needed to open on the 7th. And if I didn't open on the 7th, I was the 11th, 3rd. I needed to open on 3rd because it was going to cost me $250 a day to not be open. I had a whole bunch of people helping me out, and Galen was getting the business license, and we were plugging away trying to turn the space into something that we could exhibit as an art gallery. And I think in the first 5 days, I missed my first deadline to open for Wednesday. I needed to open on the first Wednesday of the month, and I didn't. I missed my first Wednesday deadline, and we were working 20-hour days. I'd gotten off the medication for my steroids because they were making me irrational in the middle of the day. And going up the ladder to put the Gorilla House sign up, I remember hearing us after a couple months of this deafness and a couple months of the steroids, my hearing came back 100%. And then it was like kind of like that. I saw a scene in the movie where Richard Gere needed to choose between his eyeball and the girl. I was standing on a ladder, and I heard my ear go, and it was just like the steroids wore off. The healing shut off, and it went deaf in my ear. I was like getting punched in the side of the ear. And I remember thinking, I think I would rather be deaf than go another crazy afternoon on steroids. So I went off the hearing steroids. My hearing went away in my right ear. I was working 20-hour days, sometimes like more than 20-hour days, but I was trying to get little naps in. So it wouldn't say that I worked 24-hour days, but it might have been a 24-hour day with like a couple 20-minute naps, or 23-hour day, I guess. We missed the second Wednesday deadline. And we got to the 18th, was the day after my birthday. And we were 3 weeks in, and I'd lost $250 a day, and I needed to be making enough to cover $9,000 rent. Because including the money I made off the book illustrations, you'd get your June, July, and August paycheck from the school board all at once, and I was blowing all of my July, August, and September money at the gallery. I was just watching the money vaporize day by day. The first week I lost $250 a day. The second week I lost $225 a day. The third week I was losing $200 a day. And by the third week in August, I either had to sign a year's lease or commit to moving out by the end of September. So my whole plan was just to do the event for July and August, and then quietly shut down, and then spend September quietly hanging out in the evenings, not making any money, but just emptying my space out. It was Elijah's friends that came in and pulled the first roll of the gallery together, because Gonzo didn't take part in the gallery, but he wanted to have a show, so a lot of them had a show. I think I gave him a decent amount of space in the basement for very little rent. He became one of the renters. We had about 8 people renting, and so that's where I came up with the term the Prime 8, where there was 8 of us renting space. I'd say most of them were Elijah's grad friends from his year at ACAD. I had a couple people. Jess was a friend who was renting temporary space, and her concept was she was going to pay for rent for her space. And I think we had a deal with all the people that they either like sat in the gallery, managed the gallery for something like $10 an hour, or they paid rent. And so I had one artist that wanted a space but had no money, that was willing to work the hours to pay for the rent. And I had one artist, who was Jess, who was my friend at the time, who was willing to pay for her space, but also ended up working 40-hour weeks, keeping the gallery open. So she's working the hours, she's paying the rent. I found out later on that she'd been, she used to go to the bank and take out cash for the cash box before the rumbles. And I didn't realize she was taking the money out of her own account. So at the end of the summer, I realized I owed her $900 because she'd been pulling her own cash out of her own account. And she had mentioned to me that she was the one that was floating the cash float that we used to pay out the artists if they needed cash on the spot. The first night was pretty amazing. There was 8 of us, those of us renting spaces in the gallery. The second week, 2 of the people couldn't show up because they had commitments. And around that time, I run into my neighbor Will. Turned out he was managing a couple artists. He was managing the Oilmen, Frank, Darcy, and Harold. And so my next door neighbor Will, kind of a crazy man with this work truck, would come by, and he got really excited about renovating the space. He taught us a few things about space renovations. Like, he just randomly took a shed out the side of the building, and what he did was he created a flow through for people to jaywalk through our yard. Like, what's the word? Not jaywalk, but when you cut through somebody's yard. But having people cut through our yard broke down the spot where people were shooting drugs in the back alley, because there was kind of a little nook where it was hidden. And then encouraging or allowing people to sort of cut through our property created a space where there was more awareness and more use of the space, and then it stopped being a spot for people to shoot drugs. By the third week, only one of the artists was showing up out of the 8, and the Oilmen showed up. And this strange thing where like kids with backpacks started just showing up with their backpacks, and I didn't really have the heart to tell them they couldn't take part. The artists that were paying for rent felt really intruded on. They did not want strangers coming in, but they also weren't fulfilling their you got to be here to be part of the show responsibilities. So I ended up letting like the teenagers come in with their backpacks, and we became really open. Like, people showed up without being invited the first night. People showed up without being invited this second week. Third week, the doors were wide open to anybody that wanted to come. And it was 3 weeks of exclusionism before the gallery became based off inclusionism. And then we had all these, we probably had 60 people showing up every week for the next year and a half. But a couple of the key factors were Darcy Lasecki, Harold, and Frank worked together as a crew. They worked with Tamara, and Tamara's son was kind of like part of their crew. And we had the primate group, which was us. And then there was never actually 8 people, and we never worried about that. But there was about 10 of us that would range between 7 and 10 on any given night. And the thing is having the primate after the gallery got big and crowded meant that if somebody got overlooked, we'd be like covering for each other. And with the Oilmen, again, they'd be covering for each other. And then Kathleen was supposed to be part of the group, but kind of wanted to be more on the periphery and hadn't come in the first few times. And Belinda had come in, and Melissa had come in, and Desiree was insistent on coming in. And so we ended up getting a third group. There was the primate, and then there was the Oilmen. And then there was a third group that just by coincidence, all the people in that group were kind of like, what they had in common is each of them were mothers. So as kind of like a gang, we call them the Mothers. And I thought that was a pretty tough name, like Tough Mothers. But there was a certain amount of like frustration about who was in the primate and who wasn't in the primate. I remember when Felix was born, we called ourselves the Prime 9, and he was just an infant. And if I were to ascertain who was actually in the primate group, I would have been Elijah, Rich, Jess, Oliver, Darcy, Harold, um, Chen. Did I say Elijah? I know Adam was kind of hit and miss, and Hyla. There was about 9 or 10 of us at any given time, but usually about 8 of us would show up. Uh, it was cool when Darcy showed up because he'd been a legend in my childhood. It was cool to be in a position to honor this legend by making space for him. Not long after the mamas and the oilmen joined us, um, band of ACAD instructors showed up all together, so we called them the ACAD instructors. Um, so there's kind of a couple different graffiti crews, and one of the groups, they were like really like it's kind of like a fad at the time that like dreadlocks, don't brush the teeth, really kind of. I don't remember if we called them dirt bags or if they called themselves dirt bags, but it was certainly said with love. But there's different kind of gangs that would come to the Gorilla House, and I was thinking this week that like even though I separated them into different gangs and groups, the core members of who built Gorilla House and then who stayed through to Rumber House and who were there at the beginning, middle, and the end is that Darcy was one of the most loyal artists to the cause we were building. I went to 604 events. Elijah went to the first 100 events, and then he moved to Edmonton. And Chen and I were at 33 events. We were like Chen and I were the only ones that hadn't missed for the first 33 events. Jess missed the first 2, or in the first 2 months, she missed 2 of the first 2, or early 2. And then so Jess did 602 rumbles. I did 604 rumbles. Darcy probably did 400 or 500 rumbles, and I don't know what number, but at the gallery at Girl House, Rumble House, we lost a human body every 4 months. We lost maybe even every 3 months. We lost 3 or 4 people a year. And over the 12 years, we lost about 52 people. And the first person we lost was part of the OMN, was Ryan, who was 7. And Harold had walked in. Harold was all fucked up, and he'd already talked to some people. We were setting up a show. We did not want to have a show that night. So this wasn't the Wednesday Night Rumble. It was an art show that we were putting together for ourselves, but everybody was grumpy that night. Nobody wanted to put the show together. It was like 6 o'clock and the show started at 7 o'clock. Everybody wanted to go home and have a bad night. We were all just grumpy as hell. And Harold comes in and goes, Ryan died. And everybody's crying. And I'm like, who's Ryan? Like, the only Ryan I know is 7. 7-year-olds don't die. And so like they're all talking about Ryan died. And I was like, I didn't even know who this guy is. Like, who are you talking about? And they're like, Ryan. I'm like, the only Ryan I know is 7. But it was Ryan, and he died, and that sucked a lot. And we all kind of sat together, and everybody cried, and then we talked about it, and we said, okay, well, we're supposed to have a show tonight, and this hasn't happened before, but it's happening right now. So this particular minute in this space and time, we got to decide how we deal with stuff like this. And a lot of the stuff at Rumble House and Gorilla House was just like this. It was like, what's the rule for death? And I think we kind of said, more so because we didn't want to do it, we don't do this tonight. We never do this. If we don't do this tonight, anytime something bad happens, we're going to not do it. If we do this tonight, it means we get through anything. We never miss. And the consensus was, let's just do it. And we did, and we got through it. And it was a rough night. And then, everybody was sad the next day. And it was like getting hit by an atom bomb for a couple weeks. But we just kept plugging away. And that became kind of part of the code, is that we just keep doing it no matter what. And then so we kind of got over the hardest death first. Because as much as we lost somebody once every 3 or 4 months for the next 12 years, that was the hardest one. And actually, that's my advice to most people is when something really bad happens to you, you just say, listen, it's unlikely you'll ever experience something worse than this. So you got the hardest part of your life over early. That never cheers anybody up. But my biggest experience with losing that many people is I'm thinking about my grandmother who was part of a church in Bonneville, and she would go to church every day. And then somebody in Bonneville would die, and it would really affect her because she knew those people from church. Whereas, I didn't know that many people, wasn't connected to anything like that. And when we opened the gallery, in a lot of ways, that community became our church community. And when somebody died, it really affected us, but it also changed a lot about how impermanent life would feel. And it changed a lot about how, like, letting go and moving on. And so I don't want to make it sound like you become like numb or dead to the world, because you don't, but you just have a different experience, like a different expectation of living forever. And I've had 2 friends this conversation with just recently that were on their way to the doctors with potentially dire news. And I would just say to them, like, this isn't the day to talk about this. The day to talk about this is when everything's going perfect and healthy. And I'm feeling like, okay, the life I lived over the last 14 years was a better life than I expected for 100. I expected out of my life to have as much love and joy as I had maybe at Gorilla House. If I take everything I've had in the last 12 to 14 years and add it up, it's about 20 times more than I hoped for my entire life. So when things are going well for me, I keep trying to remind myself that I already got it. I already got everything I ever wanted. And if I die tonight, it was a pretty lucky night. And I think I just try and be really grateful for what I've had. And then, when shit goes sideways, you're like, I don't know if I'm going to make it. Then I think you also try and remember that when you're feeling okay and you said, you know what, this has been a pretty great life, you try and carry that with you into the really tough moments. So we lost 50 people at Rumble House, and it sometimes just gory stuff, like really. Sometimes it was the people that survived things that was even worse than the people we lost. And there's some pretty gory things that happened along the way. And it's just math. It's just that if you know 10,000 people, every few months that one of them passes the needle and goes somewhere else. Darcy's probably the second closest of those people that passed. Right, there was more than 8 people, but it feels like the prime 7 now. Darcy's the first of the prime 8 that passed. And if this sounds like I'm just sitting here feeling like a suck because my friend passed, I have other deeper, darker secrets than that. One of my deeper, darker secrets is I love Darcy, but he was a pain in the ass to take care of. I probably fed Darcy 200 meals, and one day, every now and then, I would talk to him about the way things were going for him, and he would shut me out and be angry at me for talking to him about how he's living his life. And over Christmas, we had a couple friends really struggling, and I was putting my energy into helping somebody that wasn't Darcy. And I went in to check on Darcy because he had a storage space in the same storage space as us, and we would run into him often at the storage space. And if we didn't run into him, the lady at the storage space would give us updates and keep in touch. And Darcy had fallen asleep outside at Christmas and froze his hands. So I went to check on him a number of times, and at first it looked like when we went to see him at the hospital, we couldn't find him. They thought he might be in surgery. I did not like the sound of him being in surgery when he was in the hospital for freezing his hands. And he got out of hospital. It looked like his hands were going to be okay, from what I heard. And we're checking in on him. And then it says that he's got this one friend, I don't know, just that would sit by his locker because Darcy was spending less time by his locker. And I'd go drop something off, and then I'd go around the corner and go looking for him. And there's this kind of stranger sitting in the space. I'm like, hey, man, is Darcy around? He'd be like, Darcy's off getting some food or doing a thing. And I'm like, okay. I'm like, just, how's he doing? And his friend would be like, well, they took another finger today. And so Darcy lost like a lot of his hands in this freezing. So, like, this is a dark moment for me. You could be a murderer, and if you and I paint, there's a kinship. And I don't know, sometimes like sometimes you get kind of like frustrated with your friends when they're not taking care of themselves. And I was really mad that Darcy lost his hands. And I know this is like bizarre and weird and vain and selfish and is attached to all kinds of things, but in a way, I felt like he'd severed his connection with me. Superficial. You can draw 3 feet if you have to. But I couldn't shake the feeling of being disconnected from him. And I was chasing him. I was trying to find him, walking around looking for him. So I was like, space wise, disconnected from him. And we built this thing together, and then it fell apart. And that's fine. And, you know, like I find stuff in my locker that I'm getting rid of. I'm like, Darcy would love this. And I just leave it outside his locker. And then I think I was kind of relieved when I go looking for him and I wouldn't find him because I didn't know what to say. And I don't mean to say like I didn't know what to say, like I don't know how to make you feel better about this. What I mean is I don't know what to talk to him about. And I also had faith that you can draw with like most of your hands removed. So I didn't think it was permanent. And it's not like a brain thought like, ooh, you know, like I can't be friends with no finger artists. I don't mean that. I just mean like I felt disconnected. So I was trying to work that out on my own. And again, I don't see my mom enough. My mom's got Parkinson's. I do my best to. I'm going to paint the girl that goes into this painting that Darcy would have painted. And I'm a feminist, so I'm going to try and paint something Darcy might paint, but I'm not exactly sure how I do it respectfully because Darcy would put a girl in a bikini up against his car, and I want to do something that Darcy would like. But I'm not anti-bikini. I just don't want it to be like I'm making this painting into. I'm just gonna paint. Okay. I don't see my mom enough, but I try to. I didn't go see Darcy enough, but I tried to. There are a lot of people that I look and think about that I should have done more for them because I feel like kind of maxing myself out all the time. That if I can help somebody, I'm gonna. My own family, the kids, are not wrong to say their mom had a similar opinion of me, that I had a tendency to be out all night trying to help somebody that wasn't my family, and maybe people in my family weren't getting the attention they needed personally. I know Jess has said that to me. Uh, and the best I can describe it is like I'm gonna go through life doing what I gotta do, because sometimes like just you have this gift where you can lift a thing that nobody else can lift, and so you see somebody's car stuck in the street and it's like, well, that's a dangerous spot and I think they're gonna get hurt. And so you get out of the car and try to move the car, and my wife's like, you know what, that's not your problem. And I'm like, yeah, but like I can move that car. I can get that car out of the way before somebody else crashes into the back of it. I'm not trying to be a hero. I just know that like somehow my body was born able to push that car out of the way. We're running out of gas, and I'll just push the Volkswagen like up the hill 25 blocks to the gas station. I'm not getting a tow truck or a jerry can. But what I've said to my wife is that I count on the people in my life to have my back when I'm helping the other people. So where Jess maybe at the beginning felt a little like, why are we taking care of these people, not our problem people? She recognized that I wasn't ignoring her. I was counting on her to help me while I'm helping them. And sometimes it even hurts to help them, because you're trying to help people, you can't help everybody. So you're doing triage, trying to figure out who needs the most help at this particular moment. And then helping one person means you're ignoring the other. And so it happens that a bunch of my friends needed help about a week or two ago. And at the same time, my daughter needed help. And so I just given it all away. I didn't have it. My daughter calls me up and asks for some money for some wood. I was trying to explain to her, like, Rob, like, I'm helping so many people right now, and I don't have enough for everybody. And I just gave what I would give to you to somebody else. And of course, she was wounded. She's like, Dad, I'm not one of your people from the gallery. But she and a bunch of people needed help at the same time. And I was doing what I can to also take care of me. So sometimes when you are there for people a lot, when you're not there, they take it kind of hard, and then they kind of lash out. You know they don't mean it, but they're like kind of lashing out at you, because everybody's individual problem is harder than everybody else's individual problem, and the one that is closest to you is the hardest to deal with. And I can totally understand that. My one friend that's how many people ended up homeless this month? 3 since Christmas, right? So you're trying to hold your shit together and you're getting evicted and you have nowhere to go. So you call for help and nobody wants to help you. And I think there's sort of a point where your own family, parents are done helping, and you're, in some cases, I know people whose kids were done helping them. And in some cases, there's like, you burned every bridge. And as you get to the end of those bridges, you get less forgiving of the people you're still talking to. So I'm like, hey, look, I can't help you right now, but if we could avoid the part where you blow up at me, that'd be great, because I'd love to be in your life next month when maybe I can help you. And I can totally understand why like in those moments, people aren't feeling rational. They're not giving you their best versions of themselves. The hurtful things they say aren't intended to be real. They're just trying to hold their shit together, and things are hard all around. And I think they're going to get harder for the next few years. I think we're headed into a rough time. And okay, so finish my story about Darcy. Get back on track. I haven't seen Darcy since Christmas. I haven't seen Darcy since he lost his hands. I've been looking for him for weeks and months. I was probably a little relieved every time I didn't find him. I have a little bit of guilt about that. Today, we got a call from the lady at the storage space. Just like, I think it's time to renew the storage space. So I'm like, I think she probably wants to let us know about Darcy. And just like she definitely wants to let us know about Darcy, because that's part of the extended family. Right. And I kind of realized there's a good chance that the people that should be entitled to go to whatever valuables might be in Darcy's locker probably wouldn't know that he had the locker. So I set out on a path today to try and get some information to Darcy's son so that he would know where and how to go and peek through the locker should he want to. And I also kind of recognize that might be a spicy subject, and maybe people don't care about stuff like that in these times, or maybe they do, or maybe they want to be left alone, or why are you bugging me now? I was able to track down a friend of Darcy's son, hoping to get a hold of him. And because they're close, he offered to get a hold of him for me. In the 12, 14 years of Gorilla House and Rumble House, nobody's ever done that for me before. Nobody's ever said, oh, I will finish this uncomfortable chapter. And so Christian Lee offered to fill in some blanks and make that contact for me. And I was so relieved. And then also he'd mentioned there's a good chance that maybe due to circumstances that he wanted to be careful he wasn't contacting his friend at work in case his friend didn't know. And so, again, that's where those things get complicated. But it was really nice that that burden got lifted off of me. Not having fully recognized that I was putting that burden on this young man, I did have like a 3-second cry at my desk. I also let the kids watch Zootopia today because there's a big hockey thing and they were all distracted, and we're almost at spring break for us. And it was dark and the kids had just left the room after the bell. And I had a 3-second cry, not because of Darcy. I had a 3-second cry because I put this burden on this kid to find Darcy's son to commit this message. And then a lovely one of my students came in. She's like, is it okay if I work in here? I'm like, yeah, of course. I'm like, thank God she didn't see me crying. And then she just left me alone for about 10, 15 minutes. And then she said, Mr. Taylor, I don't want to pry, but are you okay? And I was like, well, I kind of just put this kid in an awkward position. I'm really grateful that he's helping me out, but I also don't really, feel great about like asking for help. So that was pretty neat. Connection, I guess, I made today, because that was actually a kid that's finished my course, like not just the class, but the course. She's going to graduate and doesn't need to be doing art, but just felt like she needed some art time in her life. So she came in at lunch to do some artwork, and that was nice. And it's just nice that the kids are looking out for you. They want to kind of terrorize you as much as they can until they break you, and then they really want to make sure you're okay. Also, there's like a hockey game today, so I got a surprise gym class. And there was only a couple boys that weren't in the hockey game at the gym class. They kind of like linger around to throw half shots across the gym. But what I did is I cranked down the basketball nets, and they had a slam dunk only 2-on-2 competition. And with the nets lowered, it was actually pretty amazing to watch these young people like just. I thought we were going to need an ambulance. They were so tired, just busting their butts to try and like get cross course and get cross court, and like it was like watching Space Jam. These kids, because like I said, when you lower the nets, don't tell Coop Rush. I don't think he likes it when I lower his nets, but and I told the kids don't tell Coop Rush because. And then after we lowered them, we just made sure we put them back up. But that's when you realize, oh, I wonder how high these are supposed to go. So we're guessing at the proper height for the basketball, and that might be why Cooper Rush doesn't like me to do that. But I'm going to say it was one of the most fun days I've had this year. Was slam dunk only basketball with a couple of the wild boys that I got left with for the afternoon. I got funky lights on for this painting. I thought I was using really vibrant yellow for the background. Only now I'm recognizing its skin tone. The kind of base color I used to mix all the different human fleshes. I suppose the proper name for it is peach now. And it's not intentionally unkind that I call it skin tone so much as I'm so rattled that it still says that on the container, as much as I'm constantly upset by the unelegant name for the color. It still lives in my head. So it is a tone of skin color, one of them. It's also a pretty good starting point to mix any of the skin tones, but super insensitive for the paint sets and myself to use that term. And I remember, like, I was trying to address how uncomfortable that tone made me feel. The name of that tone made me feel at an art store. And somehow it came out like I was using the word for that. And now I don't go to that art store anymore because I'm embarrassed about how that interaction looked. This is a silly little drawing. I know that a number of my friends want to have some kind of a memorial. I think they're meeting tomorrow to talk about a show. I kind of don't really want to be a part of any art shows for a while. And that's got nothing to do with Darcy. Just not feeling it. So if I can find a way to donate to that show, that would be lovely. But I don't want to be part of any show for a while. And I hope they do well. And like I said, I'll donate to it if I can. But I'm going to get a blow dryer because I'm eager to do the next stage to this, and it needs to be dry. Which means I'm going to put Kelly on to be the star of the show right now. Here you go, Kel.
Hi. Hi.
Hi, Kelly. I'm going to go get a blow dryer.
Hi.
I'm muting myself if you can just talk for a bit. Yeah?
Yep. Just have to hurt my volume there. She's done molding stuff. New stuff. Little teddy bear. It's very tiny. And the other teddy bear.
Kelly?
Yep.
I'm going to turn my blow dryer on. I'm going to have the mute on.
Yep.
There is a very good chance I might blow a fuse and the whole show goes off, okay?
Okay. You kitty. Big
Did I
kitty.
mute myself?
Yep.
Okay, and the fuse did not go, so keep talking.
Okay. You kitty. You gnome. Another new Easter gnome. Crikey. And then another Easter gnome. They've got different colors in them. So it's got like shades. And then a dragon.
Kelly, did you send the link to Zach or anybody?
Yeah, I sent it to Theo and Zach.
No word back.
Oh, and another new guy. Blue wolf. Werewolf. So I've done 17 bears in March.
Yeah.
And then redoing, I still have lots of molds to do. I'm behind.
Right.
Because my mom's dishwasher, we found out, was leaking under her kitchen floor today. So they had to remove the dishwasher and it has black mold underneath.
I see what you did there.
Yeah.
You went from molds to mold.
Yeah. Where's Jess?
At an art show for the kids.
Okay. And you're all fancy dressed up.
I'm dressed up for a funeral.
Oh, after this, or just you just went?
I'm doing it right now.
Oh, okay. Hope it wasn't someone we knew.
Well, Darcy Lasecki passed.
It was who?
Darcy Lasecki.
Oh, that sucks.
He really does, yeah.
I don't think I met him.
You have, yeah.
Darcy. What did he paint?
Boobs.
Can't remember what he painted at Rumble House.
He painted boobs. A lot of boobs. Mostly like kind of a punk rock. Maybe more heavy metal. Edgy kind of stuff, I guess. Like girls in bikinis and cars and stuff like that. This might be a error in judgment right here. See how it works out. It's not too bad.
I just molded one of the molds and it was sticky. Didn't cure enough.
Was it moldy?
No, it was sticky.
Right. What makes it sticky?
Sometimes it's not mixed all the way through, or could be the resin. So sometimes if some of the resin I had was coming out chunky.
Yeah.
And so it's kind of hard to measure those chunky pieces.
Yeah.
Happens once in a blue moon. All right. I'm amazed you don't get your white tuff dirty
I will.
from painting.
I'll get it dirty. I promise. It's more like Kelly. I'm not really comfortable in the shirt until it's got some paint on it. Know what I
Like
mean?
I wear pajamas and a shirt, and it's covered in paint and other stuff.
I haven't worn this shirt to paint in, so we'll see how the night goes. This jacket I paint in all the time. If I go to a fancy event, I'll often wear this jacket.
And you're wearing a tie.
I am wearing a tie, Kelly. You got a problem with ties?
No, ties are good for dipping in water on accident or paint.
This was my grandpa's tie. I have two ties that I like, and they were both my grandpa's. And I didn't know anything about ties, but I had to wear one at some point. And what happened was I went in my dad's closet. I looked through his ties, and they all looked weird. But there's two ties I kind of like the look of in the back. And I asked my dad if I could wear those ties, and he's like, "Don't be ridiculous. Those are your grandpa's ties. Those are from the 1960s." I don't know why he would have thought that was ridiculous. I thought they were the coolest ties. And I bought maybe, I don't know, how many ties does your husband have?
Who?
What?
He only has two ties.
Oh, two. He said who? I'm like, how many husbands do you have? Which husband?
No,
That depends on which husband.
he has two ties. That's it.
Two ties.
That I know of.
And then what do they look like?
They're just like the striped blue with the stripe, or
Right.
he's.
And then which
I
one's
actually
your
pick out
favorite?
his ties. He's picky.
Yeah.
Yeah. I actually pick out his shirts too.
Yeah.
Well, he's a tall guy, right? So he's 6'4". So he needs to have the.
How many times have I met your husband?
No, you've never met him.
Right.
You're so handsome.
Oh, she's back.
Hey, are you throwing yourself a coffee up?
I can. Yeah.
I'd love a coffee too.
I'll be doing that right now.
Come look at my Darcy Lasecki painting.
That's amazing. Oh, looks really good.
What are some things Darcy used to write? You remember his like, you
Kiss
know,
me, Kate.
Kiss Me Kate's a really good one.
How old was Darcy? He wasn't that old, was he?
He's a couple years older than me. I think
He passed away.
he's 5 years older. Than me.
Passed away from natural causes, or
Living rough for 40
I didn't ask.
Yeah.
I haven't asked.
oh, it still sucks. We've lost another good artist.
Yeah. Yeah. How did he spell Kate?
Kate.
We were watching the old Gorillas
Yeah.
last week, and it was pretty heartfelt. And it was before Darcy passed, but there was a lot of Darcy there. And I never realized how beautiful we were. And I don't mean in a fashion model sense. I mean strictly in watching those people make art and shine. Because I was so busy, I didn't see how everyone glowed all the time. And Harold and Darcy and Frank were just gorgeous. And the girls that were there, I think people talked about the pretty girls ending up on film. That might have had to do with our videographer shot a lot of weddings. But there was criticism of the early Gorilla House movies that they were like too focused on beauty. And I think it was just that everybody there was just so in their state that it read as beauty. And I'm not saying that like to try to make excuses, is that like we're watching those videos and everybody was so incredibly beautiful. Because we were scared at first too. Like it was scary back then making art in front of other people. That was taboo, right? Like you get up, you wear pants, you don't go outside with your stuff showing. And then when you make art, you do it by yourself when nobody's looking. You don't do this thing in public where they can see you making mistakes and cheating. And I had a number of friends that I think wanted to come and join us and would often talk about coming to join us, but maybe because of their practice, they were using projectors or some sort of technique to make the art land on their canvas just right. And then so they couldn't break that limitation. They didn't want to give up the privacy of whatever secrets went into their art making. We will be giving a art talk at a nerd event at Dickens
On May 21st.
on May 21st. And the way we're going to handle it is we're going to make flashcards for topics. And the people in the audience will come in and we'll give them 3 choices. Like, do you want to talk about how Rich disarms 5 drunks? Do you want to talk about surviving a flood? Do you want to talk about whatever? I mean, we'll have a list of things.
You guys, I was gonna ask Rich, do you want me to make you any water things like this for your paints? You can put your water in it.
What are you showing me?
It's a jar. I made it out of resin. I painted it.
Make the jar?
That's a jar.
Did you make the jar?
Yeah, out of resin.
Did you take a jar and put resin on it, or did you make a jar shape out of resin?
No, it's an actual jar. It's a jar. Like there's a mold here. I have a mold that I just demolded it. This is the jar I made out of resin.
So
It even has a lip, so you can put a top on it.
I think we're in a loop where I'm trying to understand you. Jess and I
Okay,
do that
so-
quite a bit. But what I'm asking is, there was
This
not.
is the mold. This is a mold. Okay.
I know what a mold
This
is.
is the jar.
Yeah. So you made that jar completely out of resin.
It's completely out of resin.
That's neat. Can we never have that conversation again?
So I don't know. Would you guys like some for your paints so you can put water in there?
I think you should sell those. Does
Well,
the jar?
I use them. I actually have a couple already.
Does
Like,
that jar?
but I do sell them. Yes.
Does that jar take a lid? Can you put a lid on the jar?
Yeah, I can put a lid on the jar.
Is it a resin lid?
Yeah, and it screws on too.
Show me the resin lid screwing onto the jar. What rumble would it be?
There's the jar. This
65.
is a different jar,
It'd be
right?
609.
There's me unscrewing the jar. There's the lid, made entirely out of resin.
669 for Darcy.
That's pretty great.
All right, that's pretty epic.
That is perfect.
So that's the jar lid, Rich.
Sorry, I got distracted by We have these crazy numbers that keep reoccurring. Darcy is a dirty boy. And it is our 669th Rumble and our 65th Isle of Roux. Somehow this is not bad enough, badass enough.
This is the jar, right?
Yeah. How do those do at your sales?
What do you mean? Well, I sell them lot anyways, but I'm just asking if you guys want one.
No. I'm scared of resin. And I like natural materials, but I love that you made that. What happens to the resin after you leave like chemicals in it for a while?
Never tried.
Okay, well, you try that out and let me know. And then I'll put my
What kind of chemicals should I leave on it in it?
I don't know, like let's say if I put oil paint in there, what's going to happen?
Should be fine.
What's going to happen?
I don't think anything. Once it's cured, it's cured.
Yeah. What's it made out of?
Resin.
But what's the resin made out of?
I have no idea. It's resin. Whatever
Glass.
resin's made out, I'll have to look it up.
Glass is made out of silicone, right?
Think so.
Like sand?
I'm not sure what sand's made out of.
I know glass made out of sand. And so like I'm comfortable with that. I'm really super familiar with it. Resin is like outside of I have to learn more about resin.
I can tell you right now, so there's two versions of resin.
Yeah.
Two. Well, there's several, actually, 4.
Yeah.
The ones I use is UltraCal and regular resin. The one you saw was regular resin.
Yeah.
That one is, it is cured within 2 days. To be fully cured, it's 30 days.
Right.
This one, the outside the egg, that's UltraCal.
Yeah.
UltraCal takes between layers. If you do layers, I do 1 layer, and it takes 6 days to cure, and it cures super hard. Even if it's in the sunlight,
Yeah.
it doesn't melt. It doesn't get soft because it's hard. It's super hard.
Right.
The other one, the other resin I showed you, if it's in the sunlight, it gets a little soft, but it doesn't melt.
Right.
So they have different properties.
Yep. How does it do in the microwave?
I wouldn't put it in a microwave.
How does it do in the dishwasher?
Hand wash only.
I don't have a dishwasher or a microwave, by the way. I just I like to know how things work.
You don't have a microwave?
Nope. We don't have a TV.
We don't have a dishwasher,
We don't have a lot of stuff.
but we have
Good friends.
good friends
And,
and a bronze panther.
Should I share it? Do you want to see our bronze panther?
Yeah, you do. It's Art Deco.
It doesn't really matter because I'm not sure what either.
Yeah, it does really matter.
So my other friend Ian is in Ireland right now, and he got to meet the guy who makes all these bronze statues. He's the artist who makes all the bronze statues around Ireland.
Oh, that's very cool. Look at
I
this.
thought it was kind of cool.
Oh,
Okay. You ready?
We took pictures of all the bronze statues. Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
It's a kitty.
it is so cool. It is like like there's a patina of like the oxidization.
Yeah.
Your oxidization is showing. I love you. Look at that.
It's a kitty. Kitties are actually
Do you want to name
it
her?
looks like a kitty goddess.
Kelly, do you want to name her a cat?
No, we haven't had our cat for like
Well, just tell me what you would name him if you were to name him.
fast.
Oh, that's a good name. Badass.
Bassett.
What?
Bassett or Shades?
Why Bassett?
I don't know. Shades.
How about Shane?
Kevin.
I should have used Shane instead of Todd in my book. Yeah, like there was no good reason to buy this.
Except it came from Alabama.
Alabama.
With a banjo on his knee.
Yeah. So this is actually
I love it.
probably the most authentic sculpture we have in the house, because we have a lot of like plastic sort of fake gods here. And I don't know why I felt well, I'm not going to unplug the lamp to show you the lamp, but we did get a panther lamp. And Jess was looking for her uncle's lamp. Her uncle passed away a long time ago, and she just got us because we really turned our home here into how do you like our curtains? Jesse made the curtains. We've really turned our home into can you show your animals over?
Oh, sure.
Into a time traveling little capsule. And so we ended up getting a panther lamp, which you probably have seen sometime in your childhood, whether it was a lamp. Our panther lamp has a little room for plants, but it could have had a little room for ashtray or something. Jess had ordered an elephant lamp, Art Nouveau, bronze also. And there was just a spot where we're missing this cat. And so I found this cat online and we ordered it. Now, unfortunately, we discovered the people call it not what it is. People call it, what do they call it? The
Art Deco?
No, we're lost all the words.
How can I help?
Where's Zach from?
Zach is from East Van.
And then
Is that what you meant?
no, Airdrie.
Well, now your cat, you can
Airdrie.
get it.
Here's my story. We went to the Airdrie Superstore. It's like a
Where on earth did you get that?
A mall of just mystery. And I think Zach called it the thrift superstore or something like that.
Oh,
like
okay.
just there's a nickname for it because it's like. Anyways, we ended up getting this lamp that we've wanted for quite some time. And I've seen so many. What's the name of that lamp?
It's Tiffany.
Tiffany, really, it's Tiffany lamp. But we've seen so many Tiffany lamps that I almost wanted,
but not all the
like
pieces.
either like a piece of the base I didn't like, or some kind of. And then you found one at a wrought iron base Tiffany lamp. You're like, what do you think of this? I'm like, I hate it so much that my stomach hurts.
Right.
That lamp feels like food poisoning, and when we saw this lamp, and it was like undeniable.
And we both loved it.
But I do think that this cat was meant to sit where that lamp went.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a little unicorn over there as well, because my wife is nuts. Yeah, so we have been able to improve our lives since we shut the gallery down. I think that we ended up buying a lot of art that we really liked, but it was to support other artists, and there's like a double edge to that sensation of like, I really love this. And I kind of half bought it because the artist was dying and nobody was bidding on it. So the art we ended up with was art we loved, but also art that kind of like flopped at the gallery, which was like, could have felt exploitive at times. Like, so we've really moved all of our art out of the space, and we're just hanging on our photos and sculptures that we picked up. And it's pretty nice departure from a lot of that stuff. Oh yeah, I haven't. Okay, so there's these. Okay, Papa. I haven't been reading the comments today. I was kind of talking about Darcy a little bit. So
There's beautiful. I was reading the comments, and
When?
they're all just saying thank you for your special memories and hugs to you and heartfelt tributes. Goat, bunny.
bunny.
Now that you have a cat, you guys can actually put it on the floor and you can actually pet it when you're going out. You don't have to feed it and you don't have to clean up after it.
100%. Bronze animals where it's at. This is us.
There you go.
Not real, Kelly.
She said we don't need to feed it.
It's not real, Kelly.
I got these pieces of
Metal.
wool, and I'm celebrating fall. There's a thistle on the goat and a daisy on the fox and grass on the bunny. Beep, boop,
Grass.
beep, boop, boop. And I'm doing a squirrel next.
Yeah.
I'm just really loving spring.
Wow, and in present tense.
I am really loving spring.
I'm loving spring.
I'm
Yo.
loving it.
I was listening to the radio when I was setting up tonight by myself.
Yeah.
And I heard some crazy shit. Like, and they were taking it so seriously.
No.
So anybody that was listening to CBC earlier,
I don't like when people take things seriously.
there was a festival, not a festival. Yeah, it was a festival. Like, you know, when you buy tickets to a convention center kind of thing?
Oh, a convention?
Yeah. But it was a festival
Okay.
for Barbie.
For Barbie?
Yeah, and the tickets were
No.
super expensive.
No.
Yeah, and it ended up being like a concrete center with like a cardboard cutout and
That's not okay.
like a weird panel of talkers that weren't Barbie related. And
Wait.
just a lot of empty space, they said. Like, you know, when you go to the school dance and they kind of cut one cardboard thing out and it says you can take a picture at the dance.
Yeah.
And they used to be like, can you make like a candy cane lane? And you're like, I can like take a piece of cardboard and make it. Can you make like a door with a bunch of whatevers? And I'm like, nah, I guess if I have to. But it'd be like one kind of lame trifold kind of thing. Oh, yeah. And they had like grab bags, and the grab bags had weird things like hand sanitizer. And then they interviewed people that went to this thing and they were super disappointed.
No.
And it was like the seriousness with which they were disappointed was like alarming. Like,
Oh.
I feel shook. Do you guys, let's have a vote. Do you guys think that Jessie should put these beautiful animals on her favorite winter coat? I think she should.
I think so.
I think you should. They look awesome,
Yeah.
Thank you. Okay, I think that's
especially the bunny. The bunny could go in the front.
I love the bunny.
Hey, can I tell you something?
Yeah.
You know when you were doing the live broadcast by yourself?
Yeah.
What did you do if you had to go to the bathroom?
I didn't.
Oh.
I'm
if
a
I can't-
teacher. I can go 8 hours.
Right. Well, I'm going to go to the bathroom.
Okay.
I'm going to come back.
Because you don't have to.
I'm going to come back a little less formal as well.
You don't have to wait.
Right.
Oh yeah, I was pretty formal today too. I was at an art show for my children, my school children. And my one girl got second place in grade 8
It's not about competition.
drawing. I know. But also I was super proud. I had over 20 kids put their work into the show from grade 7, 8, and 9.
Hey, guess what?
Very proud of them. Yeah.
You know my special gold tie clip?
Yeah?
I flung it.
You flung it.
I flung it.
Why would you do that?
Because I'm impulsive.
I'm impulsive.
Well, that's something.
Did you find it?
No, my Brooks Brothers case fell apart.
Oh.
Which kind of takes the pressure off because I had two.
There you go.
Brooks Brothers.
Oh my gosh.
Ah!
I love
That was chaos.
the
Also, I have
squirrels.
to go to the bathroom.
I love the squirrels with the fluffy ears.
I dropped all the voodoo dolls. They might be actually worth leaving the live stream to clean up just in case they are possessed.
Hey, Jess, I made some new resin.
Nice.
Gigantic kitty.
Oh, cute with the little heart.
Yeah,
Very nice.
so I got that guy. This guy's new too. This way, I like this guy. He's actually got 2 colors.
Oh yeah, that is really. Oh,
Oh,
oh, and I saw
And
Scott
then-
said his vote is for the jacket. Okay, I will show you guys when I put the things on my jacket. Who's that?
that's a bunny. It's a Easter guy, and then I have a bunny guy.
Cute.
This is the bunny guy.
Oh, that's so cute.
It's a gnome.
That is very cute.
And then I thought this was actually I thought it was actually going to be like a candle holder or something, but it's not. It's something else. The dragon with a heart.
Oh, nice.
And then this is actually a planter.
Oh,
A
that's
dragon planter or a snake planter.
cool.
So making new things now.
That is
Something
very
different.
that is very nice. I love that.
But yeah, you should put those on your jacket.
I'm totally going to. I love so like when I made Felix's jacket with the chakras and the planets. And then I was very jealous. He wore that thing like every day in the winter, which was the sweetest thing because he was like, I think in grade 6 or 7, and he was wearing this like very mystical jacket everywhere he went. And he's just like fearless. But I was like intimidated to wear it. And I'm like, I wish I was like him when I grew up. And then he outgrew the jacket. So then the vote was we cut it all apart and I'm going to do something else with those pieces. And now I'm starting to make these pieces. And Rich, I have an old pea coat that's like the perfect color for all of these. So I think it's going to be very, very sweet. I just really love how like, they're just sweet. It's really nice.
You can make an adventure on your back.
Totally. They're all like, I love their running. I love like, they're these mystical woodland beasts. I'm going to do a deer. I'm doing the squirrel next and then the deer. I really want to do an
They have
owl.
them hopping on your back, like in different levels.
Yeah. Just the nicest thing. And it'll
And then
make,
having them like kind of coming around to the into the front.
yeah.
Facing.
And
Yeah.
it's warmer because it's an extra layer of wool. Pretty cute. Rich has good ideas. Huh. Oh. Some nice color combos. Maybe that's too close to that. Ooh, that's a good idea. This is going to be for my owl. I'll do that. This little squirrel.
Only 3 weeks until the cat show.
Oh, that's nice. That's
But
exciting.
it's kitties. There's going to be it's a kitty show with vendors, right?
Cute.
So I got invited back because I guess they like the teddy bears
That's very nice.
and the cat stuff. And I also donate to them because
That's
they have a raffle and that money goes towards the show and towards some other stuff too. So try to help.
that is wonderful.
But it should be good. Like I kind of want to see. They have lots of kittens, so all you hear is
Little baby meows.
and they had I was looking at one of the pages and they had 2 little orange boys, little orange cats with blue eyes.
Oh,
They're a little fluffy.
that's cute.
I think they were 6 years old though. They're a little bit older, but they were super cute.
That was very nice.
Like that's why I was like to go and I also buy from the vendors there. Like our cats are completely spoiled. So like we just got like today Luna was having a bad day and she took a swipe at me.
Oh,
Yeah, just
They
named her.
get grumpy, especially when it's close to dinner time.
Is that okay?
yeah, of course.
His name is Bender.
So I hissed back at her.
Oh yeah, hissing back at animals is the best.
Yeah.
I do that to the teenagers at school.
I was gonna say that actually works on a number of levels.
Do you do that to the kids at school?
I haven't. I've always wanted to, but
Like if this one kid's being like rude to me for like this one kid dropped my class and she's like so like bent on like making eye contact and being angry at me. It's like, look, I'm sorry you didn't want to be in art, but I had nothing to do with you dropping my class, and I would have done anything to get you to stay. But finally, like after like the 9th like dirty look, I walked by and like Can I tell you the best part
it
though?
just says it all. Yeah.
Like her friends all got it. They're like,
I love that.
they're like, you had that coming, man.
It is so magic.
Yeah.
I like when the kids get it.
Well,
Like,
because like kids are smart, right? They're not
Yeah.
gonna like if they tell you to F off, they're gonna get suspended.
Yeah.
But if they hiss at you, you can't even like, I'm gonna like phone home and say you're making weird noises at me.
yeah.
Like I learned that from the kids. Not the hissing, but like the bizarre behavior that's hard to explain. I think I just went.
I love that.
No, I was just clearing my throat. Sorry, won't happen again.
I love that a lot.
You draw them out?
Yeah.
Are you doing a bear?
Oh, it's clear.
Oh, okay. That'd make a nice bear. I thought you were just eyeballing them. He's talking about people cheating.
Drawing is not cheating.
I'm so sorry. I shouldn't tease you. I know you can't tell when I'm joking.
I can't ever tell when you're.
Yeah.
Blow me to Bermuda.
I don't even know what that means.
It's a quote from Stored in the Stone.
I'm sure it's not.
I'm sure it is. And Merlin said it when he was overwhelmed.
Yeah, well, I'm sure.
But then he did.
What are you doing?
What? I was trying to pick up yourself.
No, that's like this is different.
No.
It's different. That's like waiting to get used. It's not like
Okay, bear. Oh, it's not.
no.
Really?
It's yeah.
I'm sorry.
Are you,
Yes, I am. I know which color I'm going to do the bear on. I'm going to do squirrel
Kelly? Do you know what just happened?
off screen. It would maybe.
Can you tell? Can you tell the disagreement we just had? I'm gonna buy myself
No, what
here.
happened?
So I have this. I have a set of gouache here, which everybody would know. The gouache is activated when you add water, right?
Yes.
So my palette of gouache is just waiting to get wet so that it can turn into art. However, my wife saw where I added a blob of gouache
I've been around
Right
junior
here.
high students too long.
that's meant to get wet when I need it. And she just randomly decides it needs to be peeled off my palette. Now, if they were acrylics, that would make perfect sense. Like, oh, I see. That's where you let your paint dry. Let me help you clean your palette by tearing off your. But this is like this is my paint set. Like you're just dismantling what I built.
I'm so sorry.
I don't think you are. I think you think it's charming.
No, I think it's awful. I was like, I've cleaned so many palettes in the past few days that
Yeah.
I'm just like picking.
Weird, because so did I.
I know you showed me the picture. I was like, man.
Well, because I also told my kids not to touch the palettes because, like, my kids have a tendency to use too much paint on their palette.
Yeah.
And I don't know why. Like some groups of kids, you can teach them like one thing, but then there's another thing you can't teach them.
Yeah.
And some group of kids, you can teach them the other thing, but you can't teach them the first thing. I have the group of kids right now that will not respond to. Okay, like let me tell you this. Okay.
Yeah.
I told them once just to use as many paper towels as they needed.
Yeah.
And they immediately started taking one paper towel at a time. And they ask
Oh.
if they can have a paper towel. Like it's like the respect they have for paper towels is unlike anything I've ever seen.
That's really cute.
Yeah. Their ability to not put too much paint on the palette can't be changed. There's no growth. There's no like nothing I say to them. And like I know other art teachers that would be like, well, make that part of your mark. Take marks off them if they don't put their stuff away. They just can't process.
They're really respecting the paper towels, the palettes.
They're not being disrespectful.
Yeah.
They have no boundary for how much too much paint is.
Okay.
So on top of everything,
Yeah.
they're trying to put their paint palettes in the sink to clean up after themselves. Like they're washing their brushes. They're putting their paint palettes in the sink.
Yeah.
Which I've never had this problem before because usually they leave the paint palettes on the table, right?
Right. It's a new thing.
but they don't need to put the paint palettes in the sink because they have too much paint on the palette, and then it goes down the drain and gets clogged. So it's like, do me a favor, okay? When you have too much paint, and not even starting with stop putting too much paint on the palette, because I know they're never going to get that. But when you have more paint than you need, could you please just put the palettes on the counter and let them dry? And they're really fun to peel when they're dry.
Right.
They can't do it. They put the paints under the water to wet them. And then they put them on the counter wet. And instead of getting that nice, that looks like this, I'll give you that, right? Look at that. Looks like the,
I was just going after that blob.
it looks like a blob of acrylic that you can probably peel off. It would break. It wouldn't come off like a full piece of acrylic.
Yeah.
But, they cannot process, first of all, the joy they would have.
Right. It's the satisfaction.
Yeah.
Um,
And they were super, and they're all hockey kids. I have a batch of hockey kids that drive everybody nuts. They got yelled at all year.
Yeah.
They love art, and they're so just sweet and making paintings right now. And like wanting to talk about them. Like forget about like fighting with them to do reflections. They're like, I'm not even used to them wanting to coming to show me their painting. I'm like, what do you want? They're like, look. I'm like, that's what I do. I look. That's how I got here. See, I'm the looker. I'm the looker of the art. But I have the sweetest group of like kids right now, and they're just killing it with the paints. My 9s outperforming my 11s.
That's pretty sweet.
But they, for the life of them, for the love of Pete, cannot avoid putting the paint palettes in the sink for some reason.
That's really interesting because I was wondering, like, it's not the exact same as yours, so it's not this is not a universal thing, but I was wondering what acrylic paint does to humans. Like, I thought if there's a study somewhere, even the sweetest kids will either leave brushes and palettes all over the place with paint everywhere. They will put the dirty brushes in the drying rack so it gets over all of the clean brushes. It's like acrylic paint kills brain cells and like hurts even really sweet children. Like kids who will rinse
It's
their
true.
watercolor brushes.
Actually, so like there's one of my classes where it's like right before lunch today.
Yeah.
The sweetest, most diligent students in the school all just left early.
Yeah.
And then there's like 2 kids that were like not into that. They're like, where did everybody go? I'm like, I can't even be mad.
Yeah.
Because it wasn't like the regular kids or the bad kids that snuck out of class before the bell.
Yeah.
It was like the dutiful, well-behaved kids that volunteer and do the readings at mass and stuff. Like they're
What
like
happened?
something happened where they all gave themselves permission to go away during class. I think part of it was also I was kind of located it because we had this massive hockey game.
Oh yeah.
Which meant the teachers and the kids were out of school playing hockey.
Yeah.
And it was a bit of a foobar because it ended up being that normally the whole school would go and watch, which was at least like a chance for the school to be at a hockey rink.
Yeah.
I'm not sure the logic behind this, but they ended up having most of the kids still at the school.
So all the teachers left to play hockey and just left you with the children?
It was completely like, I'm not going to get into that.
So,
But I will tell you at the beginning of each year, you get a lecture about being on supervision and not missing your spot.
Only when you're not.
Yeah, and I really feel like that mathematically, it was mathematically not sound today.
Well, at least it's over. Today is over.
Kevin was kind of like giving mouth to that, but I was like, you know what? I'm just going to hold that one in until the next staff meeting, and they're giving us a lecture about being in your designated spot at the right time.
Violet. The squirrel's going to have a violet on his back. I like the idea of mashing up different flowers with the different.
You're crazy.
I did a perfect squirrel head here, and now I can't for the life of me get the same proportions on this bowl.
I don't have that.
I know, because you're perfect.
No, I just don't have that.
I do it perfect every time on this. My fox was better here too.
I don't have that.
Because you just keep getting better. Everything you do.
No, I'm not saying that. I'm just saying I don't have that experience with drawing. Let me think about when I had something like that. Describe it again.
So I do it perfect.
You're wanting to
here.
do a drawing and you're not getting what you want.
Yeah.
I remember when I was in grade 8 wanting to draw action moves. Like I wanted to put, I was doing a book report for English. I was a goofball.
No.
Yeah. And generally, my saving grace was also like my curse that I would get thrown out of class for drawing. My favorite teacher, guy that saved my life, Mr. Montgomery, was my homeroom teacher and my English teacher. And because I respected him, is there paint on this? Kelly was worried to get paint on it.
Yeah,
Will it come out?
Oh, it's watercolor. It's fine.
So it might have been the first class of my life that I didn't spend all day drawing. I would listen to Mr. Montgomery because he was entertaining. And then he had us do like a book report, and I would always kind of avoid the book report by spending way too much time on the cover of the book report. And I remember Mr. Montgomery being like surprised that I could draw, and me being surprised that he didn't know I could draw, because I was like, really the only thing that was like, if anybody liked me, it was because of my drawing. And also if they hated me, it was because of my drawing. But it was really the only thing that defined me was me and drawing. I suppose I wrestled and played football, but they weren't part of my classroom personas, right?
Yeah.
And then so I remember Mr. Montgomery being kind of like shocked that I could draw. But I specifically remember I was trying to draw a guy playing basketball for a book report. And I knew where the arms and legs should go. I didn't have the same grasp as to how he would be jumping towards the basket. That was something I was kind of figuring out and erasing and figuring out.
Right. Yeah.
And that happened again when I started kind of doing more comic book stuff.
Right.
I remember erasing things and sort of like struggling to get the elbow in the right place. So I think that's kind of what you're talking about.
Yes.
I'm not going to go till 9:30 tonight.
That's fair.
Are you thinking possibly you might want to sing us some Joni Mitchell?
Oh,
tonight?
that's nice. Yeah. But hey, I have a voice back. Not
Good.
perfect.
Can it be the circle again?
Yeah. Do you want me to start singing now?
Yeah.
Yesterday.
Wait though. Can you sit up straight and really belt it out? Yeah.
No, I can't belt it.
Yeah,
out.
you can.
I'm still a little.
No. None of this half-ass Joni Mitchell. I know what you can do.
Yesterday, a child came out to wander, caught a dragonfly inside a jar. Fearful when the sky was full of thunder, and tearful at the falling of a star. And the seasons, they go round and round, and the painted ponies go up and down. We're captive on a carousel of time. We can't return, we can only look behind from where we came and go round and round and round in the circle game. Then the child moved 10 times round the seasons, skated over 10 clear frozen streams. Words like, when you're older must appease him, and promises of someday make his dreams. And the seasons, they go round and round, and the painted ponies go up and down. We're captive on a carousel of time. We can't return, we can only look behind from where we came and go round and round and round in the circle game. 16 springs and 16 summers gone now. Cartwheels turn to car wheels through the town, and they tell him, take your time, it won't be long now, till you drag your feet too slow and the circle's down. And the seasons, they go round and round, and the painted ponies go up and down. We're captive on a carousel of time. We can't return, we can only look behind from where we came and go round and round and round in the circle game.